So starting on the Bible, the first myth to dispel is Christians believe that Jesus died on the cross, taking all the sins of mankind, because death on the cross was an accursed death. And this has been stated in the Bible, and the Jews believe this, in Deuteronomy chapter 21, verse 22 to 23. And if a man hath committed a sin worthy of death, and he be put to death, and thou hang him on a tree, is the accursed of God. Any person who dies a death by crucifixion dies an accursed death, according to the Jews. That's why the Jews put Hazrat Isa alayhi salam on the cross, so that, A'udhu he dies an accursed death, because they did not believe him to be the Messiah who was sent for them. And the elders of the Jews asked Hazrat Isa alayhi salam that, okay, if you are a true Messiah, give us a sign. We want to see a sign. And Hazrat Isa alayhi salam has stated in Matthew chapter 12, verse 38 to 41, then some of the Pharisees, the elders, and teachers of the law said to him, Teacher, we want to see a miraculous sign from you. He answered, a wicked and adulterous generation asks for a miraculous sign, but none will be given it except the sign of the prophet Jonah. For as Jonah was 3 days and 3 nights in the belly of a huge fish, so the Son of Man will be 3 days and 3 nights in the heart of the earth. The men of Nineveh will stand up at the judgment with this generation and condemn it, for they repented at the preaching of Jonah. And now one greater than Jonah is here. Now for those of you who are familiar with the story of Prophet Jonah, all religions, Christians, Jews and Muslims unanimously believe that Hazrat Yunus alayhi salam went into probably a whale. He was in the belly of a whale for 3 days and 3 nights, and he came out alive, although he was extremely weak of health when he came out. And this is what we agree on. And for Jesus to say that this is the sign that you are asking for, the Son of Man, referring to himself, will also be in the heart of the earth for 3 days and 3 nights, and he will come out alive. Otherwise, it will not be the sign of Jonah. Otherwise, Jesus would not have given this example. The second most important example is a promise Jesus had made, which was his actual mission, which was to prove to the lost 10 tribes of Israel. I will not go into the details of the lost 10 tribes, but altogether there were 12 tribes of the Jews. 10 were taken by Nebuchadnezzar II towards the east, and most of them migrated towards the east further, all the way towards Afghanistan, Tibet, Kashmir, even further into India, down to South India even, and they were lost. Nobody knew where they were. That's why they were called the lost tribes of Israel, or the lost sheep of Israel. And Hazrat Isa alayhi salam has said in John chapter 10 verse 16, I have other sheep that are not of this fold, I must bring them also. They too will listen to my voice, and there shall be one flock and one shepherd. So this is a promise Jesus alayhi salam had made, and for him to break that promise, die for the sins of mankind before his mission has been fulfilled, it destroys Christianity, because if their Son of God does not keep a promise, then Christianity itself falls apart. Now, moving on, Hazrat Isa alayhi salam found out that he's going to be condemned to death by the Jews. And he was extremely agitated over this. And this can be seen from his prayers that he did at Gethsemane. And why would a prophet of God be agitated over his death if he is supposed to die for the sins of mankind? I will read the verse, and you can see for yourself. Then saith he unto them, my soul is exceedingly sorrowful, even unto death. Tarry ye here, and watch with me. And he went a little further, and fell on his face, and prayed, saying, O my Father, if it be possible, let this cup pass from me, meaning the cup of death. Nevertheless, not as I will, but as thou wilt. From Matthew chapter 26, verse 38 to 39. Now over here, Jesus ﷺ said that Allah, if it is your will that I must die, then of course that's how it will be done. But you have given me a mission. I have to preach to the lost 10 tribes of Israel. If I die on the cross, it will be an accursed death. Please save me from this. And God heard his prayers and accepted his prayers. And Jesus ﷺ had firm faith in his prayers. But he was captured, and the Jews did condemn him wanted to condemn him to death on the charges of blasphemy. And they took him to the then governor of the Roman Empire named Pilate. And from then on, from that moment, Allah's plan was set into motion. And Pilate's wife must have been a God-fearing person, and she saw in a dream that Allah had told her in a dream that Jesus is a man of God, he's a good man, and he should not be put to death. So she went to Pilate when the Jews had brought Jesus to Pilate to be judged. And she said to Pilate, when Pilate was set down on the judgment seat, his wife sent unto him, saying, have thou nothing to do with that just man? For I have suffered many things this day in a dream because of him. Matthew chapter 27, verse 19. And Allah, for a very long time, ever since the start of prophethood, has communicated to his beloved ones through dreams. And you might be familiar with the story of Joseph, who interpreted 2 dreams of the Pharaoh, and he was then released. And in another place, in the early life of Jesus, Allah told Jesus that Joseph, Jesus' father, to take Jesus into Egypt because King Herod will kill him. He told this him in a dream. And if those dreams are not meant to come true, Jesus would have died in Egypt. But as we all know, he lived and he became a prophet and preached God's word in the land of Judea. It's very clear that Pilate did not want Jesus dead. From Matthew chapter 27, 25, where he tried all he could to dissuade the Jews from killing Jesus. He even gave them an option that I can either free a criminal, because the Passover, a feast, was coming, and it was a custom on that feast to free a prisoner. And Allah Ta'ala said, I beg your pardon, Pilate said that I will free a prisoner or I can free Jesus. But the Jews said, no, free the prisoner, and he was a great robber. And at that moment, Pilate gave up and said, when Pilate saw that he could prevail nothing, but rather a tumult was being made, he took water and washed his hands before the multitude, saying, I am innocent of the blood of this person, of this just person. See ye to it. Then answer all the people and said, his blood be on us and our children. Matthew 27, chapter 27, verse 25. And then the Jews took Hazrat Isa to a place called Golgoth, where he was hung on a cross, nailed to a cross to be exact. 2 nails driven between the wrists on the sides and 1 huge nail driven between both of the feet. And it was a very excruciating death. People would hang on the cross for days on end and would eventually die of suffocation, exhaustion, from devouring by wild birds and beasts, because they were just hanging there on a hill. Now, Jesus was on the cross for a very short time. And Pilate made sure of this because he wanted Jesus to survive. And he made sure that it was as close to the evening as possible when Jesus is put on the cross. And it was just before the day of Sabbath, where it is customary for the Jews not to keep anybody on the cross because it was not allowed. And their calendar is very similar to our Islamic lunar calendar, where the next day starts from when it goes dark in the evening. And it says here, and when the 6th hour was come, there was darkness over the whole land. So Jesus was put on the cross somewhere, let's say near the morning or in the afternoon, and it hasn't even been a day. And the 6th hour has come, and there's darkness over all of the land. Until the 9th hour, there was darkness over the whole land until the 9th hour. Jesus cried with a loud voice, Eloi, Eloi, lama sabachthani, my God, why hast thou forsaken me? Mark chapter 15, verse 33 to 34. And over here, if Jesus was willing to die, he was willing to die, but if it was Allah's decree for him to die on the cross, why is Jesus saying, why hast thou forsaken me? In fact, Jesus over here is pointing to a promise God had made to him earlier, that you will be saved from the cross. But Jesus himself could not see a way off this cross. He was nailed on the cross. He's on a hill. And all he can see is death. So he's in anguish. He's extremely worried, and he cries out to God that, "Why have you forsaken me?" Because that's how it appeared to him. And this is one argument which we can use against all of those people who say that, well, Jesus was dying on the cross willingly. If he's dying willingly, why is he screaming, shouting to God for his help?